Now, page 4, educating about tax cuts and the debt. Too many Americans are ignorant about the fiscal workings of our government. Too many Americans are too easily hoodwinked into falling for partisan political hyperbole on fiscal matters out of Washington, D.C. And frankly, too many Americans are economically illiterate. So when the Democrat leadership, and some Republicans, by the way, blame the huge and growing deficit and debt on tax cuts, to those of us who have an understanding of economics, it is infuriating that no one seems to stand up to these fiscal demagogues. Washington, D.C. has a spending problem, not an income problem. Yes, the Republicans and President Trump cut taxes. No, the tax cuts are not why the deficit and the debt are exploding. Just like we saw in the 1980s under President Reagan, we are witnessing the same economic phenomenon today. When taxes are cut, the tax base expands because companies expand and hire more workers. More people in the workforce expands the tax base. And when the tax base is expanded, the United States Treasury receives more dollars. Ipso facto, our government is taking in more revenue right now than ever in the history of the United States, in the history of the world. Yet, our government runs a deficit. Now, this notion that tax cuts must be somehow paid for is an economic lie. Tax cuts involve what? Our tax dollars. That's my money, not the government's. If tax cuts are to be paid for, then that assumes that that money is the government's. It's not. It's mine. It's yours. The problem is spending, not tax cuts. Crazy, reckless government spending is driving up both the deficit and the debt. And it's very, very important that the economically illiterate in this country are educated by congressional candidates about tax cuts and the debt. So, when political demagogues like Kamala Harris talk economics, the American people must be armed with the truth.
In the America we believe in, I will tell you, when we win this election, we're going to change the tax code as follows.
Wouldn't it be nice? She wants to change the tax code. Wouldn't it be nice if one of these politicians, I don't expect her to do this, but somebody on the Republican side maybe, comes out and says, yeah, I want to reform the tax code. I want to obliterate it. I want to repeal the 16th Amendment. I want to wipe out the IRS. I want those employees to go find somewhere else to work. I don't want to have the system anymore. I want to get rid of the income tax. Why? Will government still operate? Will government still function? Yes, of course. Why is the income tax so repugnant, so immoral, so antithetical to the liberty and the freedom that we have under this constitutional republic? Because an income tax is a literal tax on your life. And you have, and we have, and I have a finite amount of time on this planet. And we choose to use some of that time to work to make money. So in effect, an income tax is a tax on our life. That is why an income tax is so repugnant. What would be better? What could you replace it with if you had to replace it at all? And I don't believe you have to replace it, but if you feel the need to replace it, a very simple consumption tax, what some people would call a sales tax. And sure, you could waive some items from that tax, possibly food items, whatever, but a tax on consumption. So if you go out and you buy a big yacht, you go out and buy a Tesla or whatever, you're going to pay taxes on it, and those taxes go to operate the federal government. And if you don't buy something, if you don't buy a new car, if you don't go buy a boat, if you don't go buy some sort of new phone or electronic device, guess what? You're not going to pay any taxes. So you have a choice. Isn't that a wonderful thing? Wouldn't that be a wonderful concept for a country such as ours? That we would actually have a choice about whether we pay taxes or not? A wonderful thing. And just think about it. The rich, as Kamala Harris and company like to talk about, the rich would necessarily pay more taxes. Why? Because they spend more dollars. They consume more than poor people do. It kind of makes sense, doesn't it? So wouldn't it be nice if she or somebody was running around saying, hey, let's obliterate the IRS, repeal the 16th Amendment, get rid of it once and for all. Or, you know, this is kind of like kissing your sister here. How about a flat tax? You know, a flat tax doesn't eliminate the 16th Amendment, and if we go to flat tax, it could always be undone, which is what worries me about going to a flat tax. But a flat tax is a fair tax.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.